All right, so back with another Runeterra spoiler review here today. We've got Sivir dropped as a new champion release, 5/3 for 4 with quick attack and spell shield. So pretty good stat line and keywords for the effects on this card. Levels when you've dealt 35 plus damage over the course of the game. Notably does not have to see you deal that damage. This is a card that in the late game can come into play already leveled up. Her leveled mode here gets a little bit bigger and says when I'm attacking allies have my keywords. So really neat with cards that grant or give keywords temporarily to your unit. So you can like give her a keyword and then your entire board gets said keywords. Seems pretty reasonable overall. I could see this being a good aggressive champion. The quick attack means that you're going to get into combat consistently, and the spell shield means that you're not going to die to the first piece of removal that they send her way, which is nice. We've got her Ricochet here. So reputation is a new keyword that we got that says, where's the reputation key? Reputation says, activates if allies have struck for 5+ damage at least 4 times over the course of the game. So in the late game, it's an interesting design. So like late game, this card will cost half as much mana, basically, if you've hit with 5+ power things. It kind of has a deck building requirement around it where you want to play these more expensive or these heavier hitters more consistently. And you get a bit of a payoff for it. I don't know if the spells effect is a very good deal. 1 damage to random enemy or the enemy nexus 5 times. The fact that this can hit the nexus while your opponent still has a board means that you're not going to be able to consistently clear out your opponent's board. Notable that this does provide 5 points of damage towards Sivir's level up, so it's not terrible, but I would be kind of surprised, especially with the cost, even with the reputation ability here, if this was a spell you actually wanted to play, past just playing it as her champion spell on occasion when it's useful. Boomerang Blade, 7 mana slow spell. When an ally strikes the strongest and weakest enemies. Huh. This seems very reasonable. So notable, this is not a fight like single combat. It's more comparable to something like Concerted Strike. And while only one of your allies is striking, it's striking 2 of their things. This notably will provide a lot of level up towards Sivir if you had, like, you know, playing it on her, for example, and she has spell shield, so she would be a great target to play this on because you don't want to worry about getting your thing killed in response to you playing your 7 mana spell. It would give her 10 damage towards her level up. Seems quite reasonable. And again, 7's a lot of mana, but it's important to think about the fact that you can bank spell mana in Runeterra, so it could very reasonably be a turn 5 play after you play something like Sivir on 4 that has a very good stat line to kill your opponent's things. This card, while it can expose you to blowouts with your opponent killing your thing in response, this can often be a 2-for-1 in a lot of board states, I think. I would be surprised if this card's not at least somewhat playable, I think. When allies attack, summon an attacking Sandstone Charger. 5 mana landmark. Do we have Sandstone Charger? We do. Is a 5/2 ephemeral. That's 2 cost. Notably, no rarity symbol here in the bottom, so this is not a collectible card. It's kind of hard to evaluate. It's a little bit on the expensive side, but getting a free 5/2 every time you attack is nice. Obviously, it could be an okay piece of top end in like an aggressive deck or an aggressively slanted mid-range deck, but this has no defensive utility, so not a control card for certain. CALLOUS BONECRUSHER. 6/3 for 4, reputation I cost 2. So again, expensive in the early game, and the late game gets a cost reduction. I'm skeptical of this reputation keyword. I feel like I need to see it play out in practice a little bit to see how it goes, but making your cards cheaper in the later game when you already have more mana, like by the time you trigger reputation, you're probably realistically going to have, you know, 6, 7, 8 mana. I'd really be surprised if you could trigger this early. I guess if you play things like the Noxious 2-drop that strikes for 5 and some other things like that, maybe you could get this online before turn 6, but by the time you've triggered reputation, it's going to be in the mid to late game, and maybe at that point it lets you like double and triple spell to push over the top, but I'm not sure if it's necessarily going to be great overall. Rune Runner. 5 mana, 6/4, overwhelm spell shield. Sure. okay stat line, reasonable keywords. Like I said, if you're going to be playing this Boomerang Blade, picking an ally that has spell shield so your powerful spell doesn't risk getting blown out seems great. And this is a 6 attack unit to use with Boomerang Blade, so I could see maybe this being reasonable if you're using Boomerang Blade as a piece of removal. Landmark, reputation, I cost 0, sure. Countdown, create 2 lucky finds in hand. And Payday, create a lucky find in hand. So these cards create these lucky finds, and I assume this means at random. So there are a bunch of lucky finds here. And these are the new Focus Speed spell here. So Focus is that gem speed. It's burst, so it doesn't use the stack and it can't be responded to, but you can't play it inside of combat. You have to play it during a main phase. So gem speed has gotten keyworded to Focus now. So lucky finds are buff an ally, pick a buff from among 3 to grant an ally. Spell Shield, Challenger, Fearsome, 2 attack, 1/1, quick attack, 0/2, tough, overwhelm. Okay, so I assume this says create 2 lucky finds and then pick a buff from among 3 to grant an ally. So I would assume that you generate this and it gives you 3 to pick from. I watched a little bit of the video here before I went. I think that's what I saw. So here they did this, and then it created 2 of these in their hand, and they played 1, and the one they played granted 3 choices, okay? And then the next one, did it also, yeah, it also granted 3 choices. Okay, so, oh, I wonder if these say relic of yore, so maybe Mobilytics has, I think Mobilytics might have the name on these wrong. So I think this is a lucky find, and all of these are relics of yore. That makes sense. I was like, because the way this is worded, it sounds like you could generate any of these, and this is fleeting, and these aren't. So like, I was like, does this give you choices, but these let you wait till later? But so what it does is these are worded wrong here on Mobilytics. So this might be okay. This is focus speed, and this is freeze. This is like 2 mana, get this to get 1 of 3 keywords at random. It's like kind of neat with Sivir's level up. I don't know. I feel like I'd be skeptical that this is a playable thing. The fact that these lucky finds are ephemeral seem medium. I suppose it is granting the buff, which is nice, but the fact that you're not getting consistency out of it feels like a tough sell. All right, and that's all of them for today. So neat mid-range aggressive champion. I'm gonna level pretty quickly. Not quickly, but reasonably consistently in your deck so she doesn't have to see the damage dealt. I think Boomerang Blade's probably the standout card to me out of this card drop today. Seems like a very reasonable piece of removal, especially when paired with some of the spell shield units that we saw in this drop or other things that can protect themselves. This card, while expensive and slow speed, is going to generate 2 for 1 if you have reasonably setted units to pair it with. So remember, if you haven't checked out the rest of my spoiler review, they are all up in the Runeterra playlist on my YouTube channel here. And I'll be back with more Runeterra gameplay on Wednesday afternoon when the patch goes live on Twitch. And we'll go up on YouTube here after the fact as always. Well, thanks for watching, folks, and see you real soon.